Hey, Emily, it's been a while. How are you doing? Long time. Good to see you, my friend. It's been a month or so, isn't it? It's been a while. How are you? How's everything doing, Emily? Oh, it's good to see you, my friend. Thanks for coming. It's been a while. Hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying the summer. It's nice and hot. It's nice and warm, isn't it? How have you been? How is everything going with you? And what have you been up to this July? Enjoying the heat, eh? Oh, it's been absolutely hot. I'm not complaining though. It's good to have some heat after the cold we had for a long time. Listen, so hope you guys are good. Hope you guys are great. Thanks for coming in. It's a lovely, lovely Tuesday. It's been a while since we've been here, so hope you guys are doing well. So fine. Good to come in. Let's enjoy and let's make the most of the day. Talking about being assertive, how you can be assertive by yourself. It's important to be assertive, to say no, but while respecting others. So being assertive is knowing your rights while respecting others. So be strong, but also respect others. Don't step on others to get to where you want. Oh, that's okay, Emily. Thanks for coming in. It's been a while. I'm glad that you were here. My phone just fell down. I'm glad you've been here. It's been a long time since I heard from you. It's important for those who are learning how to be assertive. It's good to be polite, but not to be rude. So there are many ways of being assertive. Can you play a few of them now? Let me know what your thoughts are.
If you start every interview answer with well, the next 30 seconds will change your life. Watch this. You ready? I've been prepping for 2 weeks. Say. Hi, everybody. In this video,
So there are many ways you can learn how to speak powerfully and assertively. So many ways you can do that.
Let's get started. In the last video, I talked about politeness. Specifically, I talked about the relationship between power and politeness, and social distance and politeness, and ranking and politeness. But I just want to focus on power today. So the general rule in politeness is the more powerful the speaker is in relation to the listener, the less politeness they have to use. And there's an inverse version of that rule. That is, the less polite someone is with you, the more powerfully you'll perceive them, because we can read back through these expectations about power and politeness. So if someone uses a lot of politeness to us, they're being very deferential, and we can tell that they're bowing down to us with their words. They are deferring to us. So the example I often use is that in Japanese culture, for example, people actually bow. People actually bow to one another as a show of ritual politeness, ritual deference.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Hope you're grand. Hope you're good.
States, we don't bow to one another. We show deference in other ways. We show deference.
It's good to see you guys. Hope you guys are good and hope you guys are great.
By beating around the bush, by being indirect, and doing all sorts of this other verbal deference. But nevertheless, we are showing deference. This was driven home to me in a study I did of pharmacists trying to talk to physicians. I gave pharmacists a task where they had to recommend a drug to a physician who had made a medication error. And they had to recommend an alternative. And most of the pharmacists simply wouldn't do it. They were too used to deferring to physicians. So instead of saying, I recommend drug X, they said, would you maybe think about trying drug X? And they say, drug Y might not be such a good choice. So they would play all these games, deference games, to show their deference to the physician. In effect, they were bowing to the physician, but bowing verbally, not bowing physically like the Japanese might bow to show deference. So the key to speaking powerfully, ironically, is don't be too polite. Politeness is perceived as deference. Politeness is a form of verbal ritual deference. So assertiveness is the opposite of that. And power is the opposite of that. One of the ways we show power is by not showing verbal deference, not being too polite. So when you have a request to make or an offer to make or anything, we have to say something. If you want to be perceived as assertive and powerful in a situation, don't use too much politeness. Be direct. Say it as directly as you possibly can. That means no hedging, no indirectness, no beating around the bush, no apologies. As direct as you possibly can. Think about the thing you have to say and think about saying it as directly in the most unvarnished, unadorned way that you can. That is the most powerful way you can say it, because the less politeness you use, the more powerfully you'll be perceived. Because people know the rule about power and politeness. So when you refuse to use politeness, people will assume you must be a powerful person who doesn't need to use politeness. Now, the only caveat I'll make about this is if you're with someone who's genuinely much more powerful than you, who is institutionally much more powerfully than you, like if you're in the military, I don't recommend doing this to your superiors. If you're in another situation where the other person is institutionally and officially much more powerful than you, you have to be careful about not showing them proper deference. But in situations where it's not clear who has the official power, you want to assert your power, then do not use verbal deference. That means don't be
So
too
do not
polite. It
use
doesn't mean be
verbal
rude
difference.
or profane or obscene or inappropriate. It just means no hedging, no indirectness, no beating around the bush, no apologies. So try it. Politeness is the opposite of deference. Politeness in some ways is the opposite of power. So if you want to be verbally assertive, verbally powerful, don't be too polite. Okay, you heard it here first. Like, subscribe, come on over to howcommunicationworks.com and sign up for the mailing list. Leave me a comment below. Try being direct and see if people perceive you as being more powerful. Give me a comment. Tell me how it works. Talk to you soon. See you next time. Lots of people struggle to be assertive because they misunderstand this one crucial thing. Hi, this is Bruce Lambert from How Communication Works. This is a channel where I teach you about communication skills so you can improve your relationships, succeed at work, and be more confident. I've been a scientist and college professor for more than 30 years. Since 2017, I've been creating educational videos about communication skills on YouTube and on TikTok. For 15 years prior to that, I traveled around the country training healthcare professionals how to communicate with patients and families. In this video, I'm going to talk about assertiveness, politeness, and power, and how they relate to one another. These are issues I've personally wrestled with. When I was younger, I often swung between two extremes. Sometimes I was way too blunt and direct. I thought I was being assertive, but mostly I just came across as rude. Other times, I tried to be extremely polite, but I felt weak or wishy-washy, like a pushover. I published my first article about power and politeness more than 30 years ago in the context of healthcare, and I've studied the topic ever since. If you're someone who struggles to find the right balance between assertiveness and politeness, or if you're too polite and you want to be more assertive, this video will help you understand exactly what you've been getting wrong. Without this insight, you'll stay stuck in a frustrating cycle, either too blunt and rude or overly apologetic and powerless. Politeness is a fundamental part of human interaction, but it's not just about being deferential, like deferring to other people. Politeness is fundamentally about recognizing the inherent dignity and autonomy of other people and ourselves. But excessive politeness, especially too much indirectness, can unintentionally weaken your message and diminish your perceived authority or assertiveness or power. One of the most common forms of politeness involves indirectness, that is, saying one thing by saying something else and relying on the other person to make an inference about what you really meant. Why is indirectness a problem? Many people mistakenly think politeness is indirectness, or indirectness is the only form of politeness, as we can only be polite by kind of beating around the bush and hinting at what we mean. For example, when someone invites you to a dinner or coffee or a date and you don't really want to go, you want to refuse the invitation, you might say, I'll check my schedule, or maybe next time. And that might feel polite, but it often just creates ambiguity or confusion or anxiety. Indirectness often involves a subtle denial of the conditions required to accept an invitation. For example, if you can accept an invitation, you have to be able to do the thing, you have to want to do the thing, and it has to be appropriate for you to do the thing. So you can deny any of those conditions, and that's a way to indirectly refuse a request. So, for example, someone wants to invite you out to dinner or to coffee, and you say, I'm not able to join. I can't. So that's denying your ability to do it. Or you say, I don't really feel like it. So
So
that's
it's
denying
about
your
being
desire to do
there
the thing.
for
You can
somebody.
say,
So
It's
learn to be
not that the
assertive,
best event for me
whichever you're
as
doing, yeah.
denying the appropriateness of the invitation.
For coming in.
Indirect refusals, because none of them comes right.
So learn the power of being assertive. Being assertive can help you in many ways and save you a lot of hassle. Screen. How are you doing? Thanks for coming in. We're talking about how to be assertive. So if you're new, thanks for coming in. Thanks for joining. I hope you're good and I hope you are great. It's a beautiful day to be alive. So remember, to be assertive is important. Being assertive is great so that you can avoid a lot of hassle and a lot of problems because you said no and you didn't feel guilty about saying no. Right, my lovelies? So definitely learn to be assertive and learn to understand when to say no and why you should say no, and don't feel guilty. There are times you will feel guilty and say, oh, but the more you give in, the weaker you become. Especially with those around you. Especially with those around you. It's easy to like those who are far away, but the ones who you live with every day or you speak to all the time, it might get a bit challenging because one, it's hard, then it's different, then it's challenging, then, sometimes there's war, sometimes you have to fight, sometimes I don't know, a lot of blackmail sometimes. Sometimes maybe you feel like, you know, in many ways, I wouldn't say that. I'll take that back, I'll take that back. So learn the power of being assertive anyway. It's important for you to be assertive in many things that you do. As we walked in fields of gold. Never meant promises like this. For it gives a while along the fields of barley. As we walked in fields of gold. I never met promises like this, so hope you are doing well, everybody. Hope you are good. Hope you're doing fine, and I hope you're doing well. It's a good day to be alive. And remember to be assertive. Being assertive is what we are talking about. For together a while along the fields of barley. Mhm. In a jealous sky, as we walk in fields of gold. So remember to be assertive whenever you're dealing with people. Learn to state your opinion and stand for your rights without stepping on others and without giving in. And don't feel guilty for putting yourself first. Sometimes I have and I paid for the price. Then you become the other one. You have to lose out. It's one way or the other in life. Sometimes the other person has got to go because it's you or life. It's you are in charge of your life, not them. Yeah, it's easier said than done, which is true, but it's got to be done. Oh, yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. So learn to be assertive. It's important. Sometimes you gotta practice, sometimes you gotta lose, sometimes you might fail, but in the end, you have to be brave enough to say no. Yes, sometimes it requires you to be brave. Most of the time, it requires you to be brave. It's good to be brave because if you're not brave, then sometimes if you take part in cowardly actions, it's something else. You lose your power. Once your power is gone, you can't make change. You become a victim. Once you're a victim, who's knowing what will happen to ya? It's got to be. Today is my wedding day. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be. You meant to say I haven't got anything here for the positive podcast, man? Alright, keys my.
It's got to be. Who do they think they are? Maybe one day